nutrition and school performance and so forth. So 2 additional questions have been added to the exam. For children under the age of 2, the recommendation is really to take media out of the child's life, that there's no place for DVDs and television and so forth, especially treating them as learning tools.
Just 2 questions.
So in the development of these guidelines, the ask 2 questions, which are the 2 questions are how much media time screen time is your child or adolescent spending? A simple question to ask. And is there a television set or internet access available in the bedroom? Particular attention needs to be paid for those children who are having problems with attention, who are having problems with obesity, are having problems with violence or aggressive behavior. And the link between watching and interacting with aggressive video games, watching nothing but aggressive and violent movies, spending tremendous amounts of screen time where the food commercials are telling you must be hungry for McDonald's today, it's time for Pepsi, time for Gatorade, when drinking water should be sufficient. So the overall recommendation is 2 hours or less of screen time, and what we're seeing with our 8 to 10-year-old children is they're spending 8 hours a day in front of a screen. For our adolescents, it's as much as 11 hours a day. So we need to ask that question, and we need to help parents through these guidelines and education programs to think about it and deal with it as a family. What we know is that as we exceed that 2 hours a day, that almost every hour of television time beyond that is putting on about £1 a month. So the children are gaining weight, having problems with obesity. We also have a problem with foreground media and background media. So they're brought to movies that are inappropriate, and that's a problem for a child under the age of 13 to see that. But it also is background media. Their parents may be watching something above what they should be watching, and they're watching in the background, watching over the couch. So we really need to be aware of media and its exposure in children. Yes, sir. Increased media use is really a problem in the United States as well. Our problems come with cyberbullying, so that children are now messaging back and forth, speaking as little on the phone as our senior citizens, grandmothers and grandparents, but exchanging hundreds, if not thousands, of messages a day or a week. There's an opportunity with the new programs to put out a message every minute that says, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." These children receiving this on their phones. "You should kill yourself, you should kill yourself." This is a crime. This is an FBI related cyberbullying crime. 60% of children, after the lights are out, are sitting on their phones messaging back and forth. I used to read a book under the pillow and sneak a flashlight in. Well, that's what they're doing now with the instant messaging. So in our neurology clinic, we have teenage girls coming in with headaches, and they're neurotic mothers. What happens is a lot of times these children are getting 4 hours of sleep a night. They're worried about that next message and how they're doing it at school, being perceived socially. So it's a problem in our office, the increased media usage. But when children are exposed to too much media, it's a problem. It's a problem socially, but I think there are physical manifestations as well. What we know about obesity is, again, it's exposure to those television commercials, but it's also a change in your metabolic rate when you're sitting on the couch. You're not being active. Getting children outside raises their rate of metabolism, so that just that lack of activity alone. Activity is also an antidepressant, so that as we pump out our own natural hormones, it's very beneficial. Dr. Christakis has shown what he thinks is an advantage is that there's an elevated level of cortisol that occurs with interaction of children with an iPad. But what we know about addiction, we know about substance abuse, what we know about addictive substances, cigarette use, is there's that same thing, that same thrill-seeking cortisol burst that affects brain and brain maturation. We don't know all the long-term effects, but what we know is that children 8 and 10 years old who have had this excessive media exposure have more problems with attention deficit. The whole jumping around, it's a joke that when you give the television controller to a father that he's switching channels and switching channels, but that's what this media gives to children. It gives they need that instant gratification. They can't wait those seconds for things to download anymore. And as you translate that into social interaction, it's terrible. When I was in college, we did research with Dr. Austin Reason at the University of California, Riverside, looking at social deprivation in monkeys, and showed fewer interneuron connections as a result of simply not being able to interact because there's a plastic wall between you and the rest of the monkey colony. And that's what these things are doing, is they're putting up a wall of social interaction. We screen for autism, and one of the big things that we see is that lack of eye contact. And we can pick up autism in children as young as 6 months of age. We wait until oftentimes 2 or 3, but the sooner we get what's called applied behavioral analysis, where children are getting proprioception, where eye-to-eye contact, human-to-human contact, mirror imaging, monkey see, monkey do, occurs, improves brain development. So the pendulum has swung so far with this instant gratification, it's affecting brain development as far as we're seeing as a society. The other aspects in terms of social, particularly for our adolescents, it's very destructive. We've got the taking of naked pictures and sending them back and forth, and then people posting them online, embarrassing videos being posted online, children being shamed as a result of this. The cyberbullying is a real problem where children are picked on. Even we have one child who committed suicide, and after her death there continue to be put negative comments on her Facebook page. So she's not even protected after her own death. So this media, as pediatricians, as a society, as parents, we need to really pay attention. Certainly what we know is the incidence of violence. As we're watching violent movies, we're killing zombies all the time with our online games. I know in Korea we had a child, 3-month-old, who was only being fed once a day because the parents were so involved in online gaming. And so this failure to interact as a family is what we have to be concerned about. The inability to discipline, the constant exposure to unsafe activities. So as a pediatrician, I want my children to wear helmets. I want them to undergo safety programs. I want them to eat right. I need them to participate in school. And if these things are being interfered with this overusage of digital media, we need to make it through the learning phase and find out what is helpful. It may be that in school that there is a place for it. Right now, I don't know that we know what that place is. So it would be cheaper for the schools to replace all the books with iPads, but then there's all the contracting, cloud management, and oftentimes these projects don't really work very well. We have one we're involved with called My Healthy World, and there's a set curriculum, and because of that digital media interaction, we can follow where the children are in their lessons. The parent can and teacher can receive a report of how the children are progressing through these lessons about healthy eating and active living. They're given information about calories, they're given information about exercise. They undertake exercises, including making videos. But the main thing is there's also a human for that. There's not just an app for that, there's a human teacher involved in the teaching of this particular program. So that human interaction is really missing. The other thing is our Reach Out and Read program. Parents, instead of just, I understand in Korea, you put an iPhone carrier in front of the baby in their stroller, that is now built into their stroller. So to keep the child entertained, rather than the mother rocking or interacting or looking at that child in the eyes. That human eye-to-eye contact is so important. So we have to be just beyond cautious. I think we need to start pulling back, and our responsibility as pediatricians is to ask those two questions. Is there a television set in that bedroom? Is there internet access in that bedroom? how much screen time is your child spending, and to be even more aware if a child is having problem with violence or being bullied or depressed or having problems with obesity.
Okay, I'm gonna try to translate that. 예.
Well, our concerns as pediatricians, particularly before the age of 2, is that we don't know how it affects brain development. We don't know how it affects dendritic branching. We don't know how it affects the interactions, the interconnections. With the digital media, you're not getting proprioceptive, you're not getting movement, you're not getting the kind of interaction of a human to human that's really, I think, essential for learning. We see
뇌 발달에 정확히 우리가 현재 의사들은 2세 이전의 뇌 발달에 정확히 이러는지 모르지만 좋은 건 알고 있어요. 그래서 그러니까 부모 막 인터랙션 관계 사람과 관계들이 중요하고 막 움직임이나 눈을 맞추는 psychologically it's different how the children take it, and that was the research. If you feel uncomfortable answering, we can move to a different question.
No, opening of the book, a proprioceptive behavior will occur. The book has a picture in it, adding into the learning. In addition, you're reading, talking to the child, asking questions about what they're seeing there, rather than having a passive teacher in terms of the digital media. So again, we don't know exactly how these electronic screens are going to work out, but we do need to do enough research. We need funding from national government organizations for media research before we launch these things and claim that they're educational tools. Inside your body? Ooh. Let's take a look. Okay, what's inside your body? What's in your head? Okay, your turn.
Brain.
Brain. So this guy's name is cerebrum. So he's the brain up here. So where are all your guts, huh? Oh, they're in there. So where does your food go? Oh, yes.
In your tummy?
Okay, well let's get a tummy here. So there's
I
the
know what
heart.
What's that?
That's your stomach.
Oh!
Oh, exercise. What beats really fast?
Your heart.
Oh, okay. He can hold on to the heart there. All right. Well, what do you breathe with? Okay, your turn.
On your nose.
My lungs. These are Windy the lungs.
Daddy.
That's you. Okay.
What's that?
Oh, this is Luigi, the liver. So the liver is what filters poisons and makes protein in your body. So that's what really gets when people drink too much. It's bad for their liver. Well, what do you need for good, strong muscle?
Milk. Exercise.
Milk is good. Exercise is better. There we go. So you get Peter the pancreas, though.
Yay.
Okay. Well, let's put them all back in.
Yay.
So where does your brain go?
Um,
Okay, we put the brain back in the head here. Okay, he tells everybody what to do, huh? He's smart. Says you eat your fruits and vegetables, get plenty of exercise, drink plenty of water. You did that very good. Okay, how about your heart? Let's put that heart back in there. Do you have the heart? We will help you with the heart.